I'm not even sure how to do this. I really should grab my stand or something like that because this is on a whim, of course. This morning I ended up recording the vlog for the Attack on Titan volumes 15 to 18, so 4 volumes. And then I immediately thought, you know what? I'm not going to edit right now. I feel like reading some more. And so I did. And I ended up reading the next 4 volumes. And I'm recording right now because I'm in a bit of a marathon mode because I got the next 4 volumes ready to go. I'm not sure I'm going to have as much to say on this vlog because my brain is ready to go into the next volumes ASAP. But in any case, I figured I'd get some thoughts out here just in case I can leverage whatever I'm recording here as the update for my vlog. So let's start with volume 19. I'm going off memories on this is all blurring. But you know what? To keep it simple, I'm going to say 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5, 5 out of 5, almost a 5 out of 5. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5. It was almost a 5 out of 5. It's going to be another one of those scenarios where it's like a 4.5 out of 5, but I'm going to have to think about why. It's just in the last chapter. It's like, it's a lot of reveals happened, but I ended up getting to the last chapter. I was like, how did the volume feel though? How did the full volume 22 feel? Felt like it wasn't quite a 5, and I don't know the reason for that yet. So, I'm going to have to give that deeper thought, but for now, I'm just going to move on. I'm going to say 19. This was a friggin' romp, man. Okay, so volume 19 is Barrett's Titan coming down to Reiner Titan. I'm doing this with one hand. I really should grab my stand. But anyways, that moment right there, you know what I'm saying? That was crazy. Last chapter, cliffhanger moment, the entire pacing of the story just completely constantly ramped up, chapter to chapter, event to event, scene to scene. This was cohesive. There was maybe less people on the field. No, I mean, there were a lot of people on the field and they were in different arenas of war, but everything was cohesive because the battle itself was on these 2 fronts of the war. And as a reader, we were bouncing from side to side, but it was all connected, The Levi moment with Erwin on the field with the Beast Titan. Oh man, it was all so good. 5 out of 5. I came out of this one kind of just really appreciating how all of the previous 4 volumes really were leading up to a point to set up all the pieces so that these next 4 volumes, the escalation was superbly executed for sure. Volume 20, this is where everything hits the fan. The battle on the front I was just talking about there, Erwin and Levi, kind of the moment that happens with all of the recruits that get put into that forward charge moment, because I mean that's the plan. It had to be done in order to set up Levi, in order to take out the Beast Titan. Friggin' remarkable pacing again here, and again the drama and the impact of every decision made. It landed, and it was bloody. Lots of people get taken out here on all sides of the battle, and the plan with Armin and Eren to take out the Colossal Titan. I mean, I flipped to it with one hand here, and here we go. I'll try to do this with one hand because I just flipped to it accidentally. But the moment there with Armin, kind of sacrificing himself for the plan to work out, and for Eren to set up a husk and then get around and take out Bertolt, it was sad. It was sad, but it had to be done. It was crazy, and of course, you still have the quadruped Titan running around and kind of making sweeps and saving people along the way. Also, I thought that one dude, the Beast Titan, was Eren's father, but it was just aged, or maybe something happened, or he had memory loss or something like that. I know I made that comment in the last vlog. I'm pretty sure. And it threw me off that in the intro there, in the top corner, they don't actually put a name. And I was like, what the hell? You spoiled me on the Ackerman name, so why not just tell me that that's Eren's father and we just move on? Well, it wasn't. It wasn't Eren's father. As I came to learn, we end up learning it's Zeke, still of the bloodline, but it's Zeke. And in the next volume, it does put the name up there in the corner. So anyways, it's Zeke. We get a lot more history of Grisha and of... Is it this volume or the next one? It's all starting to blur. Anyways, looks like a brother from a different mother. Different era, different zone, different place. We start to get a lot of history into the bloodlines, and I don't know if it was already where I got the name. There's a name. There's a race. I'm quickly flipping through here to see if I can get some more memories back. Yeah, I 5 out of 5 because I can't do this with one hand. This is impossible. I don't know why I decided to do this. Because I want to read. All these moments, all this art. On this fight, everything was so good. It was so good. All the moments were so good, so insane. The escalation felt right. Charging in, it was like a conclusion for the squad itself, kind of giving it their all, giving it their heart, and sacrificing it as part of they are pawns. They know they're pawns, but for the survival of humanity, they sacrifice themselves because that's what their role is to do. But I just love how the climax, the way everything ended. It was really good. And of course, Armin taking that position of leadership and putting a plan together as he is wont to do. 5 out of 5 for volume 20. We go into volume 21 here. This is again starting to blur like pretty crazy, so I'm just going to flip through real quick. This is where we start to go into the super backstory of Grisha, but Grisha as a child. So like we're following Grisha as a child growing up into adulthood, having his own son, Zeke, and then Zeke basically turns in the father and the mother to the forest beyond the walls, beyond the ocean even. There's a whole different group out there that we get introduced to, a whole different set of plots, and all because why? Because we finally get the key reveal. We go into the basement and they find these 3 books, history books or journals, not history books. In those journals, it basically says everything about the history and this race of children of Ymir. Effectively, Ymir makes a deal with the devil of the earths, something like that, and ends up getting the power of the Titans, creates this bloodline of Titans. I think there are like 9 of them, 9 bloodlines. And then they end up breeding. So they set up basically the early civilization 2,000 years ago-ish. So the beginning of the series, of course, first chapter, right? Something of 2,000 years. And now that we know that memories are transferred between Titan to Titan, that line is starting to make a lot more sense, right? It's not, well, I'll get into that because I'll get into this if I can remember. Sort of memories, but I'm curious about just there's some phrasing that happens on some of these panels that always makes me think that it's something else, that there might be some sort of time looping going on, and it's not just memories, and it'll just be a comment on like one page, one panel, and then they'll just switch scenes, and it's like it feels like a red herring. So I'm going to keep my eye on that because the repetition is consistent. Repetition with the skies and the birds in the skies, they show that again. The cages. And then the battle for volume 20, the Beast Titan has those other abnormal Titans in a ring around the wall, but they create another ring that basically blocks the Beast Titan from the squad. And they were calling that the wall and caging them in. So they made a line like caging them in. I was like, well, there you go. Repetition of lines all over the place all the time. So anyways, I love the cover here. Very dramatic, very nice. The perspective is cool. The colors are nice. Everything's good about this one. Anyways, but back to the history. So we get the history, and it is a focus of the history of Grisha because he has a different last name, which I can't remember right now, but it changes when he gets behind the wall of the ocean to the wall of the city. He's basically been planted as a mole, as an agent for this resistance of these Eidolons. Fuck, I forget the name right now. I forget the name right now. Anyways, it starts with an E, and it sounds very familiar to the thing I was talking about in one of the vlogs that I put out there around an idea I had about the original Titans. And I think the setting I was going to call it like the Seeds of Eidolon or something like that, or something of Eidolon. And it was about like the proto creation of these proto beings. I think I called them proto entities or something like that. Kind of mix of Lovecraftian lore going on there. And I don't know where I got Eidolon or Eidon. Beginning of eternity. It's like I remember this idea, this word, and I can never find the word anymore. But Eidolon is the one that comes to mind in any case. I'm not sure if it's the right word or if it means the right thing. And I know that's not what they're called in here, but that's what's coming to mind because it sounded familiar. I was like, oh damn, that's crazy. So somewhere 15, 20 years ago, I probably stumbled upon a similar word that kind of led to maybe what's driving this thing. Also, just creepy enough is like, you know, it's a city, it's a circle city with like airships and stuff like that. And my comic, the original version of my comic series, the first page of issue 1 was basically a circle city of walls, 3 walls with blimps flying overhead. It was a steampunk city, and it was demons. In my world, it was because of a fiend battle, the Hellfire Wars. That's kind of weird. Anyways, I redid the first page, so the first page I still have the original first page, the art of it, but I didn't end up using for the novel. But it's just creepy how many similar ideas existed. But if you replace Titans with Fiends, I don't get into the Fiend topic. It's just the history of my world. But it's 120 years ago in my world. It's year X20 is where everything starts. The story starts. And the main character of it, it's all about lineage and bloodlines and stuff like that too. It's just crazy. I'm reading this going, I'm kind of confused along the way. And I'm like, but I kind of wrote something, not similar, but not the idea of it, but the structure of it. I kind of wrote using a similar thing with bloodlines and lineages over 3 generations and how that matters and how the powers transfer and stuff like that. And I was like, that's just kind of crazy. I might just offer my series for free if people want to check it out at some point because why the hell not? Especially if you catch in this vlog. Maybe I'll do something someday. So you get the early seed of it just because I'm reading the series going, screw it. Like I got to get my idea out there because my idea came out before this. Okay. I didn't take anything. Now that I'm reading this, I'm always afraid of like, if people read my Raven Nevermore series, they're going to think that I took it from this. That would have been impossible because I started that series in 2005 and I finished writing it, most of it in 2009 when I started the comic series, and I finished the comic series in 2012. So, and then I launched it for distribution in 2018 on Kickstarter until 2020, until the entire series was done. So I'm just putting it out there. I'm putting it out there somewhere into the ether. Anyways, but back to this, pacing was good. All considering, like the fact that I was bouncing back to this generational past and getting more exposition about, I mean, a whole race of beings and how this power transfer happens and why they're being discriminated against, and like the civilization of humans that came after them, trying to call them, effectively put them on this island called Paradise, which is where our walled city is. And they kind of go there, they just leave them there. And so one day they're going to come back for resources, or grab the Titans and use them as weapons of war or something like that is the takeaway I got either in volume 21 or 22. But 5 out of 5 because the pacing was good. The reveals were pretty sweet. I did get a little bit confused as to who was who, and what the whole resistance thing was, and because again we were going through generational phases. But what Hajime Isayama does a lot is they go through, like, there's flashbacks, but you're already in a backstory of another perspective. Then it's a flashback, and sometimes it's a flashback in a flashback, and then sometimes it goes back to the present. But then it's sometimes difficult to know where I am in the timeline and who I'm following, because I mean, you get the character names eventually, but then it all happens so fast, and there's so many new characters introduced that I did start feeling lost at some point. And I'm like, I kept telling myself, reminding myself, it's not as hard as it seems right now. But because so much was going in my brain, I couldn't organize it as fast as I was consuming the story, if that makes sense. And when I would stop to think about it, it almost made me more confused to think about it. I'm like, let me just get to the next chapter. Let me get to the next page, next scene, next chapter, whenever. Let's just keep moving forward, and the pieces will fall into place. Because what Isayama also does very well is that there'll be a moment where they tell you the story again. Like they recap you on a page or two with another character's perspective. In this case, it was Aaron remembering these memories while reading the journals, and basically telling the group that was with him about what he was seeing, or what he was saying out loud, subconsciously, unconsciously, while he was in prison or being reprimanded for, being, I was going to say subordinate. That's not the word I'm looking for. Anyways, for pushing back against Levi when Levi had to make a decision whether or not Erwin was going to get the needle or Armin, that then, does the thing, which I believe. Wait, did that happen in... Right, that happened at the beginning of this volume. I was like, where did that happen again? Yeah, so they give the needle, the special needle that turns someone into a Titan. Yeah, so there was a massive decision there, and I thought that it was handled pretty well, especially because the scene with Erwin, basically, like, he's kind of signing up. He wants to see what's in the basement, but at the same time, it's like he kind of had to give his dreams away in order for the goals to continue, and in Levi's hands and Levi's choice. And so Levi makes a choice, saves Armin. Armin eats Bertolt. And so, in theory, Armin takes the power of the Colossal Titan, which is crazy. It's kind of fun. And so then volume 22, and pretty sweet cover, pretty somber. And because you've been hearing about like reaching the edge of the world, or this, getting to the ocean with so much salt, blah, blah, blah. And the fact that they end up getting there, it's just kind of fun. And it's still a lot of history here. Not history. It's like the end of the whole backstory of Grisha, and the sacrifice, and how the entire resistance was put over the wall. So all those Titans they've been killing, all the abnormals, they basically have gotten injected, turned into Titans, and then they roam those lands, and they keep pushing the other humans, or the Eidlins. I wish I was able to flip to one of the pages with the name of this thing. I know it was said over and over again in here. Eldia. Turning the Eldia restorationists into Titan Eldias. So Eldians is what they're called. And this is basically Grisha getting tortured by someone called the Owl in the Resistance, because they have a big play, big play in motion to take their powers back, or take their heritage back, and so this is all a big play. There's the image right there with the deal with Ymir and the Devil of the Earths, I suppose. Something going on there, which is very intriguing, and I'm curious to see where it goes. But maybe this is where it slowed down. Like, this entire chapter was like just that final exposition while sending him over the wall to have a life, have a kid behind the walls, because he has to pass the bloodline, and they can continue their resistance, I suppose, eventually get over the ocean, get to the other side. And now I can only speculate they're going to take the war to that other side, across the ocean to the other people. We have Historia officially becoming queen, stuff like that. So it got a little slow. This moment right here, just so the Titan that ate the mom was Grisha's previous wife, and she makes a comment before turning into a Titan that says, like, I will always find you, I'll come find you, and something like that. So she went to the house, she did find him, but didn't find him, Grisha. Found the wife, Carla, and then ate her and met Aaron. It's technically her stepson at this point. Crazy. So yeah, that happens. Yeah, we get the moment because the decision was made to keep Armin instead of Erwin. That the Survey Corps is like they all thought it should have been Erwin and not Armin, and so they have to kind of contend to that and see where that goes. But what's on these last pages here? I, like you, am a subject of Ymir. So when Historia touches him, like he has to kiss her palm, like as she gets sworn in or gets made queen. I don't think sworn is the right word there, but his allegiance. He's like they all kiss her hand, and as we already have that lore, right? If they touch each other, like bearskin to bearskin, I suppose, like they transfer memories and whatnot. So this memory is seen, I'm suspecting, by both of them. So some of the people of the walls are eaten. Please, you must kill the Titans attacking the walls at once before my wife and my children. And it sort of ends there. And it's like, where does that go? I'm doing this with one hand, folks. So, got it. So it looks like she's aware of the vision as well that he just got, right? So something's up. She's aware of it. And now it's like they know maybe they have to make a decision, and maybe they realize they know for sure they're not alone in the world, and they go for the edge of the world, and they get there. They get to the ocean, and so when he sees it, he knows there's something on the other side. And so the whole comment was like, when we get to that moment, right, when we get to see the water, that's basically like where it will be free. We'll find freedom. And so Aaron makes a comment of like, is it freedom though? Like we got to the edge and we can now look across the almost infinite water, but we know beyond that spot, like Aaron knows that there's a whole other race out there that has subjected them to this island of paradise to basically get to eradicate themselves or be ready to be harvested later on. And so now it's like, well, is it freedom, or do we have to take those people out in order to get freedom? It's almost like the context of the roles have sort of, that's not the right way of saying it. It's like, it's not that they become the Titans, because they, strangely enough, they are the Titans. They're the originals, but it's like the attack of Titan. You know what I'm saying? So you catch where I'm going? The attack on Titan, it's like those abnormal Titans attacking the walled city, but now it's like they've left the city and the massive walled island of paradise, and they are like, well, he is. This original Titan bloodline has to go and attack the humans. So like we flipped the entire script halfway through the series. That's kind of, I just found that was kind of intriguing. Just kind of got slow in the second half of this, but it was a 5 all the way till the second half. It's not that the second half was bad. It just slowed down. That's all. 4.5, but good reads. I got to round it up or down, and I'm going to go to 4. I'm going to go to 4. I'm not sure what they could have done better outside of maybe like on their way to the wall. Again, just to liven it up a little bit. There was like a Titan dragging their face on the ground. Like there was no energy. I'm like, why don't you just kill these abnormals though? Because like they passed Titans before where I'm like, but they're just cut the nape of their neck right now, man. But they didn't. They left that one alive as well. I'm just kind of weird because they're gonna come at you. But maybe there's another motive there I just didn't catch. But pretty sure they let it live. I mean, them knowing now that it's technically people that, I mean, they already knew this though. They knew this. So I'm not sure. Maybe if they're attacking, it's in self-defense. They've been taking them out. I guess that's true. Levi did do that whole, he took out the entire wall to get to the Beast Titan though. So I'm not sure. Beast Titan, like Zek did make a comment like, our father lied. Like, I'll come save you. Our father lied to us. So there's still enough seeds there where you're not quite sure that you're getting the information, like the truth, and they do talk about the truth and reality, and that they don't really live in reality. There's been lines like that have been made that it's just like the whole dream idea of the dream has kept coming up. Like, are they all in a dream? Oh man, what was the line? See, that's the thing, is like I should at least bookmark these things as I go, because some of these lines I feel like they're very important, and some of the characters call it like, what did you mean? Like, why did you say that? Blah blah blah, right? And so that's when it like stands out to me, those lines, right? And it's like, well, they're repeating those keywords quite often enough that they're probably important. Something between dreams, something between reality. I think that's in question. Is kind of how I would see it. We know this has been going on for 2,000 years. Oh man, there was one, I can probably find it. There was one line right here at the end where, by the way, his name is Aaron. This original, so it's called an attack titan. So the owl, the one that ends up handing off the mission to Grisha, the titan he turns into is called the attack titan. It has fought for freedom. Its name is the attack titan. So that's the idea of freedom getting inherited. Going from Grisha to Aaron. I can't remember his last name, although he does say it. And I was like, what do you mean his name is Aaron? But it wasn't Aaron Yeager. It was Aaron. I feel like I've seen that name before too, but now it's not coming to mind. All right, so I found it. Aaron Kruger is the name. And he says, "As I just showed you, I hold the power of one of the 9 titans within me. In other words, I am one of the subjects of Ymir, just like you." That's not the line I was looking for. I did find his name, though, but that wasn't the line I was looking for. How am I going to find it? It was such an odd line to say, and it stood out because how important it was, you know? Oh, was it before he turned into a Titan? Okay, I found it. I found it. It's that spread right there. So I didn't know that it happened so late in the chapter. It's right in the last quarter that we're still getting some flashbacks from Aaron Kruger, the Attack Titan, and he says, "This is a weird one." So it says, "Your wife, your child, even someone on the street, it does not matter." So basically, get a bloodline. He's telling Grisha, to just push this bloodline forward. If you can't, we're doomed to repeat it all again. He says, "The same history, the same mistakes, again and again. If you want to save them all, Mikasa, Armin, and the others, carry out your mission to the end." Mikasa? Armin? Grisha says. Who are they? Who knows? Whose memories could these be? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And it's the whole repeating again and again, and that kind of motif or that idea has come up a couple times as well. So it stood out obviously, and then of course that was the cliffhanger for this chapter. That's how that particular chapter ends. And I was like, noted, noted, and kind of important, of course, right? Because every 4 volumes or so, there's one of these moments where it's like, is there a time loop going on, or is there a memory loop? Because now we have the whole memory thing going on, right? And the title of the first chapter, of course, in the first volume, bringing up like 2,000 years from now or something like that. So is something happening where memories are being sent back in time? Because that'd be crazy, right? That'd be crazy. They make this idea, they kind of give you this lore of how they're all connected somehow. And that deal was made with the Devil of the Earths or something like that, right? So, and the original idea of the Titans, and even the one that I kind of was going with, it's like there's like a Gaia relationship. There's like, they're like the that was the word I used, primordial beings. And so it's that they're composed of some of the original matter that makes things like life, like earth, air, fire, water, all of those primal elements, those primordial chaos things is what my primordial beings were all about. And I feel like something like that might be going on here too. When they touch each other, it's as if they're all connected. So that's why their memories, like they can see each other's memories and stuff like that, is that there might be something along the lines of like, there's one like being, it could be the entire earth, right? They come from the earth, and the earth is what connects all of them. And that they're almost like an immune system for the earth or something like that. And that these 9, I don't know why there's 9 of them, but I'm sure there's a numerical value to that I'm not catching right now. But I like this idea of the path. Oh, and the coordinates. That was an important takeaway for these 4 volumes. I finally know what the coordinates are. It's not a location. I mean, it's sort of a location, the coordinates is this idea of like the paths between all of them, those memories. That's the coordinates is like some place, but it's more metaphysical. Like, I don't think it's a real place. You know what I mean? I think it's something else that might, man, I don't know. This feels like it's going to connect into some more esoteric direction. Like, not exactly, like, it's not going to be a mundane solution. Whereas things are going, I think this is even a comment a character says, like, so what are you telling me is magic exists? It's like, okay, because like everything feels kind of mundane, and well, they're not really, because there's Titans and the way the Titans exist, right? But they still make that comment, and I thought it was interesting that they made that comment, because then they bring up the whole paths and the coordinates being something that may be on some other plane, right? They didn't say it that way. That's how I took it. So that's the wrap up of these 4 volumes. I have these next 4 volumes right here. I'm probably going to read them right now. I'm not sure if I was actually going to do an update. It just dawned on me because now I'm done recording the vlog. But my plan was to read the next 4 and then do 8 and 8. I guess I'm not doing that anymore. I want to get my thoughts down because these ideas start to all blend together, as this kind of example was showcased right here, right? I don't mind doing these, but I do want to get these thoughts out, if for no one else, for myself, just so that I can have a memory of this experience along this journey through Attack on Titan. It's really captivating, and it's definitely halfway through. It just it completely swings the other way. Like it swings in a whole different direction. And so I do feel like it's like I was talking about earlier, the concept like flips on its head, and it's like the Attack on Titans. It's like it's crazy that it's like the Titans, the original the Eldians are taking the fight back to the race of humans that basically pushed them all out to this kind of prison island, basically internment island center camp, to use them as come back for them for weapons of war or something like that. But anyways, I thought that was interesting, intriguing, and I feel like it's going to switch everything up. And so many people got wrecked in those last 4 volumes. Like, they got wiped out. The Survey Corps wiped out, and so We got less people to really follow behind these walls, right? We could open up a whole new suite of characters. It's almost like flipping, I wouldn't say jump the shark, if those of you aren't familiar with that term, right? It's like when a story takes such a crazy wild turn of events that it sort of loses its own plot. It loses its own idea or concept. It's like a train going off the rails. It's at risk of potentially derailing the entire trajectory of what people signed up for as viewers or as a reader or something like that, right? So I feel like it's definitely on the line of jumping the shark, but everything still sort of fits together. And because it's such a brutal world and loss was just part of the narrative so far, it's like a lot of people lost. Yeah, but it was a big fight, you know? Could it have been crazier? Maybe. But like that beast titan throwing a bunch of pebbles and that just turned into like a bombardment, like of just decimated things, you know? People, buildings, everything that gets destroyed. It's like a bunch of cluster bombs dropped on them, and it wrecked the entire survey corps. So that now we know the power and just like the range of strength that's going to come out of that Titan. So it's going to be interesting to see how that whole plot flips around, because we did get that ambiguous statement of, I'm going to come and save you someday, right? I'm going to come back and save you, and something about the father's lies. So I'm like, Jesus. So we're going to have like a rigmarole after rigmarole, right? Instead, like it's like even all the history we just got in the volume 21 and 22, you know, is that even the truth? Because these lines come up, right? That the truth, like the idea of truth or dreams or reality, there was a kind of was it part of the engagement between the owl, Aaron the owl, and Grisha, like on the wall. That was all part of that, and those are vital moments, I think, for the next half of the series. You know, so I'll keep that in mind. I'm going to be jumping into the next series. Quick vlog here. Hopefully, this cuts into something reasonable, and I'll catch you in the next video. Don't forget to explore, engage, and inspire, buddy. Peace.